Hello and welcome to HISD Up Close. I'm Board President Michael Lunceford. Voters in November overwhelmingly passed a 2012 school bond. But now what happens? On today's show, we'll talk about the next steps for delivering the promises we made to rebuild Houston's high schools. Plus, it may look like a video game, but it's actually a tool helping teachers to improve the reading skills of our students. And finally, board member Paula Harris stops by to talk about what's happening in District 4. That's all next on HISD Up Close, and it begins right now. Last November, nearly 70% of Houston voters approved a bond referendum to rebuild high schools across the district. It was an exciting moment for me and my fellow board members and for the superintendent. Let's take a look.
This bond's a game changer. This is going to change the lives of hundreds of thousands and eventually millions of students in our school district. It's going to change our city. It's going to increase property values. It's going to bring jobs to our community. More importantly, it's going to give our teachers and our students, principals, and parents the kind of facilities that our children have deserved for so long.
Because to me, this says the City of Houston has a vote of confidence in our board, our superintendent, the faculty and staff here who do the hard and heavy lifting. It says that they are voting for the City of Houston's children.
Houston deserves a top quality education. They deserve top quality facilities. We will not be in competition with the suburbs any longer for not having schools that are not of the 21st century for our future. So again, to everybody, thank you so much.
We've had a few moments to celebrate, but now it's time to roll up our sleeves and get on to work renovating and rebuilding our schools. Here to talk about what's next are Dan Bankhead and Robert Sands from HISD's Construction and Facility Services Department. Gentlemen, thank you for coming this afternoon. I really appreciate it. Robert, now that the 2012 bond election is over, now you have to implement your plan. Tell us how that's going.
Well, what we've done, we've started in December and we're meeting with the principals. We started calling them and setting up meetings for our staff to go meet with them to start planning, to do the planning pieces. We've also sent out a booklet that has to do with the advisory committee, kind of give them an idea of what to do. And so they're really going full blown on planning all 40 of the projects, even though we're going to roll out just 17 right at the beginning.
Dan, tell us some of the factors that you consider when creating and designing new schools. I know that you really like that part.
Yeah, I do. I'm very excited about that part. There are quite a few factors. We are looking at the type of learning. We had a symposium in December. We're going to have another one coming up in February to really have educators and planners and architects work together to talk about how the buildings can help the learning process. So we're going to be looking at that, looking at our site, of course, and looking at what is the absolute cutting edge of design for 21st learning facilities. And there are going to be some exciting things come out of this program.
Well, I know this doesn't happen overnight. How long does it take to plan a school? And then probably maybe tell us an elementary versus a high school, because they're two different.
Right. An elementary school will take from the beginning to the point that we start construction will be anywhere from 12 to 15 months typically for our average elementary school. Now in the high school, depending on the size of the high school, because we have a couple different sizes of high schools that we're going to be doing as part of this program, that can be anywhere from 18 to 24 months to even in some cases a very complicated project may even go as long as 27 months to get done.
Do you have any idea yet, or are you still formulating the features that these schools will have? I know, maybe tell us a little bit what ideas you have in formulation of the things that could be in these high schools.
Well, you know, a lot of that is going to be determined by our project advisory teams and the campus staff. We really want to engage them as a part of the process, but we're going to have some very collaborative learning facilities, some flexible facilities. We are definitely going to be incorporating sustainability as one of the features we have. We will have state-of-the-art technology in all of our new facilities. So there are some basic things that we're going to have and some basic requirements, but the community, the campus administration will be a key part of what features go into each facility. They'll be a part of the team.
Robert, maybe you can tell us a little bit about the structure of the bond office, because it's a little different than what we've done before, merely because of the magnitude that we're doing.
Yeah, with $1.8 billion to spend.
That was billion.
Billion
Yeah, that's
dollars.
a lot of money.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of very good, knowledgeable staff, and we have went through a little reorg chart, and we're, as you know, we're still working on some of the 2007. We've got a group that's working on it, and we've come up with, we've got some senior program managers that are be there, and some project managers, and then we also have an RFQ out for more PMs, and so we can be able to bring some of those guys in as our flow, our work gets more involved and more intense. We can be able to bring those individuals in and not be a part of our operational costs, but all part of the bond costs.
But also under you, you have 3 chiefs, and maybe you just explain
Yes,
how the functions.
Right, I'm glad you said that. I have Dan Bankhead, who is the general manager of design. We've got Sue Robinson, who is the general manager of planning, and then we've got
who also has the design background also.
Yes.
Whereas you also have a planning background, so it's a,
so it works out real well. And
yes.
then we've got Dylan Brady, who has come on in December, and he is the general manager of construction. His background is construction, has been involved in program management for a long time. And then my 4th person that works for me is Joel Falcon, who is in charge of the facility group, which is the guys that's got to maintain the buildings for the next 40 years after we build them.
Okay. Now, you talked about the parent group. Maybe we'll elaborate a little bit with either one, exactly kind of what you envision this group to do. You can parents, community members, and how will they function? I know we talked about it when we were out promoting for the bond to be passed, and maybe what you've looked at again.
The parent group at this moment, if you don't mind, the parent group at this moment is working with Sue and her staff and with the principals at each one of the individual sites to kind of build and kind of understand what the culture is and what the neighborhood is, and kind of so that when we do replace one of the 20 schools, that culture for that area still becomes part of that school. You know, we don't want to just build something that's built out in the urban area, I mean in the rural area. We want something that really, really fits that culture. And so that's one part. Another part is that we're going to have continual meetings during the design stage, during the planning stage, and during the construction stage, where the community and the neighborhoods will come in and get their final input, be able to feel the bricks, look at the sheetrock, and be able to express what they feel is right or wrong with it. So we'll be able to work with them on that.
Another item I noticed in the paper, that there was a listing of meetings that you'd had with in the community. So you've had an outreach for businesses who maybe hadn't done business. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we started those back in December and had several in December, and they continued on through this month, and we'll, I think, even have a few still left scheduled for February. And so what we're doing is trying to reach out, and we're having those meetings in all the districts throughout the city. So we're going to the customers where they are, and our potential client, our potential consultants, and letting them know how to get engaged in this program. We want as many people as possible engaged in the 2012 program. We want the best and the brightest.
So if I see a meetings at Bel Air High School, it's not for Bel Air High School, it's for HISD as a whole. It's just for those people who reside in that area.
And then where it's most convenient in that area on that date. But everybody is welcome to come to understand the opportunities that are here for working with the district, yes.
Well, I know that you've kind of decided on how you're going to roll out and what schools are going to be done. Is there a site, I guess HISD website, the bond site? How can someone, if they want to look to see where their school is and what the plan is in the rollout, where would they find that?
Well, that is on our HISD website, www.houstonisd.org. On there you'll see a 2012 bond window or tile, if you will. If you click on there, it gives you all the information about it. We're real excited also because we're going to be doing so much more on communicating to the public, to the community, about what we're doing in the program. We're going to keep them advised all the way along the way, and so you'll see a lot of exciting communications coming out of HISD about this program and the various milestones and achievements we reach.
Oh, fantastic. Now, the other question, I know what you're trying to do in the planning phase is to make sure that you disrupt the least amount of schools.
That's right.
So, but there are going to be some, I guess, as we progress, they'll find out, but you might tell us kind of just on that one function, what you tried to do and work around in the schools.
We've looked at every site, before in November and then December when we rolled it out, and then what we've talked about is there's going to be what they call swing space. So there'll be some schools that we're working on right now where we'll actually literally take the students and move them to another school during the time that there's construction. Other schools that have a little lower population will be able to rotate them around within the school and the T buildings that are on the campus as we do construction. The one intent that we have is that we're not going to add any T buildings for swing space. We're working very diligently with the principals and principals at swing space to make sure that we have the students where they need to be and not in portable buildings.
Try and live in the campus that you have. Well,
Absolutely.
guys, I could sit here and talk to you all day. I really appreciate all the hard work. Dan, thank you so much. We were hand in hand going out meeting with the communities and talking to them about the bonds. I really appreciate it, and there's a lot of work that's coming up, and I think all the communities should be excited about this.
Yeah. Thank you
for having us.
Thank you. Coming up, you may be familiar with iPhones and iPods and iPads, but what about the iStation? We'll take a closer look at this teaching tool and how HISD is using it to get our kids reading on grade level when HISD Up Close returns.